program in your practice. I did just want to mention a few things before we get started. All the attendees, you guys are muted, so you're not going to be able to speak any questions or comments. If you do have a question, though, please type them in the questions box that you'll see down on the right-hand side of your screen. We will try to answer those as quickly as we can, and also answer some of them at the end of the presentation. If we don't get to your question, we will follow up with you via email tomorrow. With that said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Dr. Kim Cooch. He is the CEO of Oral Biotech. Dr. Cooch is an inventor. He holds numerous patents in dentistry, and he's an internationally recognized speaker and has published dozens of articles and abstracts on dentistry in both medical and dental journals. Dr. Cooch also has a private practice in Albany, Oregon, and he is excited to share how offering memberships to his patients is changing his practice. Oh, and let me see, I might need to unmute him here. Bear with us just 1 second.
Can you hear me now, Ashley?
Oh, there we go. Now I hear you. Okay.
Okay, got it. My headset was muted as well.
Oh,
okay.
Well, there we go.
Well, welcome everybody, and I'm excited to be here tonight and see if we can get started. There we go. All right, we're great. Okay, so what we want to talk about tonight is an exciting development. I think that these are certainly some interesting economic times that we've all lived through here in the last 4 or 5 years. Certainly, I know, I've been in practice of dentistry for 35 years, and I think the last 5 years have been the most, I think, challenging for my patients, and certainly in my clinical practice experience. And so what I want to talk to you tonight is about an insurance alternative for your patients from you. So when we talk about, the current climate in dental care, one of the things that that's going on certainly is we're being affected by the Affordable Care Act. And then we want to talk tonight also about advantages of an in-house membership plan where you offer a membership plan directly to your patients, and then kind of give you an overview of the Compass program itself. If we talk about the climate change, I think the biggest thing that's going on certainly is the Affordable Care Act is having an impact on the dental profession, and we've only just seen, I think, the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to see greater impact as time goes by, certainly as the Affordable Care Act continues to be implemented more. But one of the biggest changes there is while large employers are required to provide medical health insurance, they're not required to provide dental insurance to anybody over the age of 21. And so that, in effect, with the skyrocketing costs of health care or medical insurance, and I've already seen this happen in my community with 2 employers, they've eliminated dental insurance benefits. And so, suddenly I've got patients in my practice that have had dental insurance their entire adult life, and suddenly they're without dental insurance. And I can tell you, based on previous experience that I had when a large employer the company was sold, and all of the several hundred workers went out on strike, and they were replaced, they lost all their benefits for a couple of years, and they stopped coming to the dentist. I mean, literally, and that had an impact on my practice, and I've not forgotten that experience. The Affordable Care Act, came to us with a lot of promises. If you have your health care plan, you like it, you can keep it. It turned out, it was going to be broadcast on CNN, and at the end of the day, it really occurred, in the dark of night. And we really got sold out to the insurance companies and the unions. I mean, there were special deals made every place that you can think of, and the bill was passed without even being read. So there's a lot of things that are going to come to light in this plan, but I think there's a lot of unintended consequences. I would be the first to agree that we need some reform in our healthcare system here in the United States, but certainly this plan is going to provide some challenges for all of us, even in our own healthcare. But one of the things that we're seeing that's happening is there's declining utilization of dental care by all adults. That peaked, I'm going to show you a graph, that peaked in around 2002, and that happened to coincide when the highest percentage of adults in the United States actually had dental insurance. There's continued financial pressure on employers with the Affordable Care Act. I mean, they're quoting insurance increases in the neighborhood of 10 to 20% come this fall. Again, there's increased pressure on us providers to become more efficient. You're starting to see the first mid-level care providers. 16 of them have graduated now. That's kind of an experiment to see if we can figure out a way to deliver care, to certainly populations that aren't being served at the moment. There's an increased integration of healthcare delivery and financing. The cost of dentistry is expensive, and I think we've seen a huge growth in the number and types of dental financing plans that are available to our patients to utilize, because the average patient, the average American would have a difficult time writing a check for $15,000 to cover some major dental treatment, and we don't do that today in America. It's more commonly that you're going to finance most things. And then there's increased consumerism in dentistry. We've got a lot of corporate offices. Patients tend to look at dentistry as a commodity, and so they're shopping, they're price shopping. They're a lot more sensitive to that, and they spend a lot more time, evaluating things on the internet as well. When we look at the utilization of dental care over the last, 10 years, it really peaked for adults in the adults is the blue line here, peaked in about 2002, and that's when about 60% of Americans had dental insurance, and it's kind of steadily been on the decline. I would say that the number of children seeing has increased slightly, but it's fairly flat. When we look at the annual growth rate, real per capita expenditure comparing dentistry to healthcare, in the 1990s up through 2002, we were actually outgrowing healthcare in general. From 2002 to 2008, with the decline in the percentage of patients that had dental insurance, we've seen our overall revenues decline, and actually since 2008 we've been in negative growth. In terms of dollars spent on dental care, it's not growing, it's actually shrinking in terms of real dollars. So that's putting certainly pressures on us as practitioners. We're trying to provide the best care that we can at the same time. It's creating pressures on us, and you're seeing like year before last, Delta Dental in the state of Washington cut their reimbursement for their fees 15% across the board. Well, when you're in a small practice and you may have a, let's say you have a 70% overhead, you have a 30% net margin, and you take 15% off the top. Well, that comes out of your net margin. Suddenly your profitability has been cut in half, and so we're seeing a lot more pressure on practices as well, placed by the insurance companies. When we look at the utilization of dental services, this was a survey, a questionnaire that was published in JADA earlier this year. We noticed that, being a woman, married, and non-poor, and having a higher education level and private dental insurance were associated with the higher odds of having gone to seeing the dentist. And patients that lived in a county with a higher dentist to population ratio were also more likely to utilize dental services. So, and that's what our practices look like. And the majority of our patients are women. The majority of them have dental insurance, and they come in twice a year to see us, and they maintain their health. Women are a little, I guess, more regular about maintaining their health, conscientious about that than men tend to be. And so that's what our practices look like. And so that's kind of how it plays out when you start to look at surveys on patients. One of the things that we've seen is an increase in emergency room visits for dental care, for dental emergencies there in dental pain. And if we look at that, emergency room visits based on status, it's that 70% of the people that go there, they go there because they're either on Medicaid and nobody is willing to see them, or they're uninsured, and so they don't feel like they can afford or have access to care. So, one of the promises of Obamacare was that there would be less utilization of emergency room visits for healthcare delivery, and I think we're actually seeing that increase instead. When we look at statistics in the United States, and these come from the dental insurance industry, 54% of the patients right now have dental insurance as opposed to 60% in 2002. Back in 2010, it was 57%. So we're seeing a pretty steady kind of gradual decline in the number of patients that have dental insurance, and most of that is employer provided. And I think in the next 2 years we could see a dramatic change in that number as well. An interesting behavior of patients is when they have dental insurance, 81% of them see the dentist twice a year. And if you look at patients who are not insured, only 34% of them see the dentist twice a year. So this is kind of the experience that I lived through back in the 1980s when the large employer, the company was sold. You know, I took a large group of patients in my practice that were, you know, seeing me twice a year, and they ended up in the pool of the patients that didn't go to see the dentist twice a year. And by survey, when asked why you don't see a dentist, number one, at 44%, cite the lack of insurance as a reason for not going to see the dentist. And reason number two in that survey was that dental care is expensive. So if you don't have an option available for your patients, and we go through these next couple of years, I think that we're going to see an impact on our practices. And I think that you're going to see a lot of patients in the population who currently aren't seeing a dentist, strictly because they don't have insurance. If they had an option, they might choose to do that, to start seeing patients. When they were surveyed, we looked at, 81% of the patients, go to see the dentist if they have dental insurance. Only 34% go to see the dentist if they don't have insurance. That's a huge shift in behavior just based on the perception of having a benefit plan for them. And when asked if your employer ended your dental coverage, this was in a survey from 2012, if your employer ended your dental coverage, would you buy it yourself? Well, interestingly enough, about the percentage of patients that currently have dental insurance said yes, we would likely or very likely, buy that insurance again. And asked, well, what type of plan would you buy? Would you buy one that was like this full coverage plan, or would you buy one that's primarily focused on preventive services? Like, 80% of the patients said that they'd be more interested in a plan that met and provided for their preventive and regular ongoing preventive care. So that's kind of the needs and the wants of our patient population that we serve, and those are the factors that I see in play that we're going to be confronted with here in the next couple of years. And I think the jury is out. I mean, I don't think anybody has a clue as to whether the Affordable Care Act is going to succeed, whether it will be fully implemented. It continues to be delayed, parts of it being delayed. I don't know that anybody knows what the ultimate outcome is going to be, but certainly I've already seen patients in my practice that have lost their dental insurance as a result of the Affordable Care Act, and they're panicked and trying to figure out, what are we going to do? How am I going to be able to do this? And so being able to provide an alternative and provide actually a better solution for them is certainly going to retain those patients in your practice, and I think it certainly opens the door for new patients who maybe have never had dental insurance to see the advantage of having a benefit plan, a membership plan that would be an advantage for them. And we take that, backdrop of what's happening here, and we look at, tooth decay. Dental caries is the #1 disease in the world. It's literally the #1 disease in almost every age bracket in almost every country in the world. And so we've got this epidemic of disease and a challenge in terms of access to care. And I really look, it's going to fall on our shoulders to try and find a good solution for our patients. So why would you do this? That's a really good question. Why would you offer a dental membership plan in your practice? Well, I think the #1 reason is that it eliminates the #1 reason patients don't go to the dentist in their perception, and that's lack of insurance, lack of dental insurance. And while this is not dental insurance, it's perceived as a benefit plan to them, and it's actually really a membership where they are kind of pre-purchasing their preventive care at a discount and financing it on a monthly basis so that it becomes a lot more affordable in their budget. And so, we look at the statistics. I think we're going to continue to see more of the adult population lose their dental insurance. And so that's going to continue to be a challenge. But so the main reason, reason number one right out here is this eliminates the reason why they don't come see us. Number two, it's sticky. Anytime that you can get somebody to create something that becomes a habit in their life, it's harder for them to stop doing it. It sticks with them. And so membership plans, and it's something that is simple. It's easy for patients to understand. It's not as complex as dental insurance. It's very simple for them to sit down and look at. And they already have memberships to, maybe an athletic club or Netflix, or, I have a membership card in my wallet to Costco. So, membership plans are already things that we kind of understand. And if they start and it becomes the first month or so, they write the check, or they use their debit card, or they finance it online, pay, online through their bank account, or do an auto withdrawal. It's whatever the monthly payment is for that suddenly becomes just part of their monthly budget. And after 4 or 5 or 6 months, it's just like your cell phone bill or anything else. It's just a part of your ongoing daily life and the expense of your life. And so you kind of just stick with it, and it's I guess, an easier pill to swallow than going to the dentist, getting your teeth cleaned, having a checkup, and having a bill for having to sit down and write a check or put $300 or $400 or $500 on your credit card. So breaking it down like that, it makes it more habitual, and then it sticks with the patient. We tend to, when we're a member in any kind of plan like that, we tend to stick with that. So it's sticky. Number two, it's sold anywhere at any time. I think one of the challenges for us as dentists is that, we're kind of limited to answering our phone during the day. We all have websites, new patient forms. They can go download the form and fill it out, and they can then, call. Some people even, you can go online and set up an appointment, but that, the patients aren't really utilizing that. However, at the same point in time, we're seeing the growth of online sales is growing in double digits every year here, and at the same point in time, brick and mortar customer sales in the United States are relatively flat. So we look at this, when the patient calls at 10 a.m. in the morning, we answer our phone, and we certainly welcome the new patient in our practice. But this gives us an opportunity, and one of the things that we've discovered in the process of doing this year is that about half of the sales, the new patients that are purchasing the dental membership plan for your practice, are doing it after hours. They're doing it at night. So it gives you an opportunity to be in business and accept new business while you're not at the office. So that's a huge benefit. And so suddenly, rather than being limited to whatever your office hours are, you're open for business, basically 24/7 to add patients to your practice. This is a big one for me. And I think you can probably relate to this. It puts the responsibility of the appointment back on the patient. My practice, we send out a ReCare card. They fill it out. We pre-appoint their recall appointment 6 months in advance. It's already on the books. They fill out their name and address on the recall card. It goes out a month ahead. They see their handwriting on the card. They recognize it, and that makes it a little stickier for them as well. And then if they have, if there's any challenge, we always call them a day ahead of time to remind them of their appointment. We go through all of these steps to make sure that those hygiene appointments are full every day. And I know that everybody else lives with this same thing, and I still have patients who cancel because they couldn't miss their hair appointment, and there was a conflict. And we get kind of put on the bottom of the priority list. Well, in this situation now, when they have a membership plan like that, it's their responsibility. They pre-purchase this plan. It's like the gym membership. The gym doesn't call me and say, you need to show up and work out today. We're going to make sure you're going to be here at 4 o'clock to work out because you need your scheduled workout. It's like it's no longer my responsibility. You bought a plan. You agreed to it. You created it. And if you don't show up, I still get paid, right? So it's not like you don't show up and I don't get paid. You bought this membership, and if you don't show up, I'm the one that gets paid. And so it's like it's no longer my responsibility to have to try and chase you down, remind you, text, mailers, phone calls, emails to try and help people maintain their hygiene appointments. And the hygiene department, it's the lifeblood of any dental practice. When those hygiene appointments when the hygiene department's not full, suddenly your schedule, down the road isn't full either. And so this is one advantage of a plan like this, is it puts the responsibility back on the patient, and I think that's where it belongs. And lastly, why would you do this? In my mind, it's independence and control. I mean, one of the challenges we've got is working with dental insurance. It's been a good benefit for patients, and it's been a good benefit for practices over the years. You know, was dental insurance, you know, I think we could probably have a long discussion on whether it was positive or negative. Certainly Bob Barkley had a huge fear of dental insurance, and that it would take us away from being more preventive and actually focus to be more surgical in our procedures. And I think all the things that he predicted have absolutely and positively come true, you know, but it did provide more access to care to patients who maybe wouldn't have had it. So, you know, whether it's been good or bad for the profession, I think that's I think we could debate that. But at the same point in time, one thing that I do know is that, you know, they do control fees, and if you're going to have, they set their fees. The insurance companies maintain a high level of control over, you know, what the plans that they sell, and it's really, I think we want to tend to blame the insurance company, and it's really they design products, you know, dental insurance plans that employers buy, and the employers make a decision whether to buy this plan A or plan B or plan C, and the benefits and how much those plans cost the employer end up, the benefits are different in each of those plans. So it's not really, I think sometimes we're unfair to the insurance companies and kind of complaining about it does this is really crappy insurance, it doesn't pay for anything. Well, it really didn't cost anything. So, you know, not all dental insurance plans are the same. But the one thing about it is that I think one of the challenges for patients is there's so many exclusions. They come in, they've got dental insurance, and I know that you guys hear this because I've heard it in my practice. Well, does my dental insurance cover it? You know, well, if they cover it, I'm only interested in what my insurance covers. I mean, so, you know, what they're telling you is I only can afford, or I'm only have the perception that I can afford and want whatever it is I have a benefit that's provided for. And so, you know, we have all these exclusions of pre-existing conditions. We have exclusions of most cosmetic care, which is what many patients want. We have all of these exclusions. So they get down, the employers provided this coverage for them. They come to see you, they decide they want this done, and then they find out it's not covered. And probably more often than not, the patient may decide not to do it, or they may decide to do it and pay for it out of their own pocket, depending upon how good we are at communicating the benefits of that care for them. But the challenge is, you know, at the end of the year, and think about this for a second, at the end of the year, they say your patient has $1,500 worth of benefits and they only use $200. Does that insurance company send you a check for the other $1,300 of the benefits that, you know, the patient didn't utilize? The answer is no. The insurance companies, you know, get to keep all of that. And in this situation, you know, you get, you know, the patient doesn't utilize the service, doesn't utilize their membership plan. It's like instead of the insurance companies keeping that money, you get to keep that money. If they didn't show up for their appointment, you get paid anyway. And so I think that that really gives us a better ability to be more independent. We get to set our own prices and fees. They're not set for you. You have options to set the fees where you'd like to do them. You put them in control of, you know, it puts you in control of your own revenues again. And it creates, I think, a higher acceptance rate. You know, yeah, you can have cosmetic treatment. It's part of your membership plan. You know, there aren't really any exclusions. You're in control of what's included or not included. You're in control of where you set your fees and how you want to run the plan. But it takes the insurance company out of the relationship between you and your patient, and it gives them a much better opportunity to have the care that they want and allows you to have the freedom to provide that care as well. So those are some, I think, the 5 reasons to do this. I have to tell you, I've been doing this year in my practice, and it's been a huge benefit for my practice. I can't think of a reason not to do it. I think that it's a huge opportunity to help retain these patients that are panicked, that are losing their insurance, whether they're retiring or, guys, and I had one patient just recently that their COBRA plan was costing, she and her husband was costing them $1,500 a month. And she's like, you know, we just decided to cancel it, and we're going to buy a boat. And, you know, there was a part of me that's, you know, that wanted to cheer them on. It's like, you know, really it costs $18,000 a year. That's, like, ridiculous. But anyway, I digress there. But, you know, here, they signed up for the Compass plan in my office because it was inexpensive and it made sense for them and it provided the preventive care that they were looking for, and it wasn't $1,500 a month. So I can't think of a reason not to do this. So it puts you and your patients back in control. And so I think, Ashley,
yeah, I'll kind of take over from here. Thank you so much for giving us that just overview of kind of what's going on and why plans like this are going to be a big part of the future for dental practices. I'm going to give you guys just a quick overview of the Compass program and how that kind of fits into this need that we now have. With our program, we're allowing you guys to offer memberships directly to your patients. So kind of like Dr. Cooch was saying, it's putting you back in control as well as the patient of their dental care. You can kind of see on the screen here a common comparison. So a gym membership. I know, as Dr. Cooch mentioned, Costco. There's a lot of things like that that we're already used to having memberships to. So it's basically you have a membership to this place. You're paying a set amount every month, and that's giving you kind of some basic benefits. You might even get some extras on top of that, like with the gym, maybe you get a discount on some of the other services that they offer there. And that is basically what we are trying to do with Compass. So what you're going to be doing is offering a similar membership to your patients that's combining the regular services that you already provide, as well as some special benefits for being a member. Compass plans offer your patients the ability to make small monthly payments and receive their dental cleanings, dentist exams, x-rays, emergency exams if needed. And then the extras that they can receive as part of being a member are things like automatic products being shipped directly to their home, 15% off other dental services such as cosmetic work, and a free smile consultation. These are the three basic plans that we have, a little overview of them for you guys. We have a treatment membership, and what that would really be is us just shipping products directly to your patient. You're prescribing them, we send them, and that's that. It's very simple, just a prescription for them. Our service membership, the one in the middle, is actually hands down the most popular one we have. What this provides is kind of those basic services like I had just talked about that you're providing to your patient, such as cleanings twice a year. And then our health membership is a combination of these two. So in addition to the patient having access to those preventive services, they would also be receiving the products directly to their home quarterly. We do also have two perio plans, so very similar to the other ones that I just went over, but with 3 to 4 cleanings per year instead of 1 to 2, really trying to have options for the variety of patients that a practice might see. Now, some of the basics of how offering this plan would work in your practice. So the best part is that you are able to make some of the basic decisions of how this is going to work. We do have 5 price levels for you to choose from, as well as you are able to choose what plans that we offer. So the ones that we just went over, you could offer one of them or all 5. It would be up to you. You're also able to set any exclusions that you would like for the 15% discount that we advertise. So you could have specific services that it applies to, or maybe set terms as far as payment goes to be able to qualify for that discount. One of the biggest differences between standard dental insurance and the Compass plans is going to be the lack of third-party influence. So you're not going to need to let us know when your patient comes in, what services they receive. There's no making sure that they're eligible. They sign up for a plan and they are now a member. We also are kind of taking care of the basic behind-the-scenes part of this. So you're really just continuing to provide the same great services to your patient. They're going to sign up for their payments. They'll be actually happening automatically and processed by us. And then on the 15th of every month, we send your portion of that directly to you. And if any of your patients did sign up for one of those health plans, that quarterly product shipment, after you've kind of prescribed and chosen the product, that it would be, we take care of sending that directly to them as well. So just as far as an overview of how to get started, it's really easy and only takes a few minutes. When you visit our website, you just fill out a couple pages to sign up as a provider. When you do that, we actually automatically in the back end of your account have a custom code that's created so that you can add a button on your website. And that way you can easily direct your patients to go to your website, click that button, and they would be able to sign up on one of your plans right away. As Dr. Cooch was talking about, many patients, it might be after hours that they have time to kind of review the plans and see what would work best for them. So this is a great fit there. Once you add that button to your website, you can just start signing up patients right away. I wanted to show you guys a couple of examples of what that looks like. This is one of our providers down in California. You can kind of see on the left-hand side there, she's added her button. And then this is one of our providers up in Washington. He also has the button on his website. We do have a couple different formats just to make sure there's an option that can work for everybody. And then I wanted to speak just quickly to the marketing that we currently provide. So once you've signed up and put that button on your website, we have some different materials that we'll send to your practice that you can use, letting your patients know that you now have this available as an option. We have some brochures that you can set out in your waiting room, customizable letters that you can send out to your existing patients, letting them know that it's available. And then we also have the ability to put out press releases for your practice. In your account, you'll find some different options there. Those often get picked up by local newspapers, and sometimes even news stations will come out. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity. We really try to make it, once you're a provider, all you have to do is let your patients know about this great new service, and we try to take care of the rest. This is a screenshot of our website right here that you can see. If you go to it, up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the Become a Provider button. And if you just click on that, it'll take you to our provider page, and then you'll see the Create an Account button right there. What you might see right above it is that we do have a one-time activation fee for providers of $7.95. That happens kind of when you create the account. On average, most of our providers, if they sign up 10 patients in the first month, have earned that back within 2 months. As far as reviewing the pricing for your team, you do want to create an account to do that. As I mentioned earlier, we have 5 price levels, so we have a little area where you're able to kind of change what price level you're on and see how that would affect what price your patient pays, as well as what portion of that you would receive. So we definitely recommend as a next step that you go ahead and create an account and kind of look that over. We will also send a recording of this webinar to you just if you want to listen to it again or have any team members. And then we do have many videos on our website too that we would definitely recommend that you review, as well as our FAQ page. There's a lot of questions on there that you might find helpful. We also have, for people listening tonight, we have a white paper that we will make available to you that kind of goes over a little more in depth some of the really big advantages of offering a program like this in your office, as well as a special offer for that $7.95 sign up. So if you are interested in getting signed up, please email us at info@compassdentist.com and we will get that right over to you guys. And that's all we have so far. So let's see here. Let's see what questions. Dr. Cooch, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, actually, I think you've covered it really well. I mean, it's a very simple program. It's easy to sign up, and it's easy to help your patients sign up. So it's I found it extremely simple and highly successful, desirable in my practice.
Great. So let's see. One of the questions that we have here, and I'll touch on it a little bit more, just kind of clarifying who the recipient is of the monthly patients, or excuse me, the monthly payment. When your patients get signed up, they're going to, at this time, they'll enter a debit or a credit card, and that will be charged every month, and that gets processed through our site. So in your account, you'll actually be able to see all the patients that are signed up under you, as well as the payments that happen. But we are the ones processing that, and then I think I mentioned on the 15th of every month, we will send you guys your portion of that payment, along with a little printout so you can see what patients that was from. And then another question we have is about the fees that the dentist pays. So I did mention that activation fee that we have, and as I recommended, it is best to create an account just to kind of review the pricing structure so that you can see how that works, as the portion that the dentist technically pays is taken out of the patient's account. So after you have paid the $7.95, you won't ever need to pay any other fees to Compass. We actually take what would technically be the fee for each payment out automatically so that you don't have to worry about that. Let's see. see. Oh, this is another, one more question here is what happens if a patient cancels? And this is a great question and kind of two parts. I know, Dr. Cucci, you were talking earlier about patients, getting them to come in for their appointments and how sometimes that can be a little bit of a struggle. With Compass, you are receiving those payments still for your patients, whether they come to their appointment or not. And we do get some questions about what happens if a Compass patient has an appointment and then misses it. And, kind of going along the lines of you guys set the rules, that would fall in that category, certainly. So, if you guys have any sort of fee that you would charge or anything like that for a patient missing a scheduled appointment, that would, of course, be up to you. As far as a patient wanting to cancel their membership, they are able to request that, but you are actually the one that makes that happen. So a patient would go into their account, request a cancellation, and then you would receive a notification of that. In the first 6 months, if a patient wanted to cancel, it would actually require that they pay a $200 cancellation fee, and that is put in place just to protect the practice from patients signing up, getting an appointment and then canceling right away, because we, of course, don't want that to happen. After the 6 months, they are able to cancel without the fee. Let's see, and it looks like we might be out of time, so if we didn't get to your question, we will follow up with you as soon as we can via email. And we certainly thank you guys all for joining us tonight.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here and spending time with us tonight. Have a great evening.
We look forward to speaking with you tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.